a working stun list for you. We have cool tunes and some primite action. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. So what does a modern era stun deck look like? Well, you're actually looking at it here. Due to all of the crazy restrictions, you know, we've lost Jug and we've lost Fossil Dyna. We've lost all of these power cards that have helped the deck out throughout the years. So now we're kind of forced to make some concessions here as to what we can actually work with within the package to, you know, maximize and get those insanely cool numbers that you need. So, I mean, you're almost only going with 2 border. Honestly, being able to watch some of these decks make Link 1s pretty much invalidates Inspector border, because like, oh, hey, I got a whole effect now I can actually apply. So that becomes a little bit of an issue. We are going with 2 Incredible Ecclesia. This is fine because you're using this to toggle into Punishment. Punishment's job is to be able to just outgrind the opponent, honestly. And I think it does a good job at that, you know. 2-for-1 specials, you know, turning into a draw, turning into an extra pop. Those sorts of trap cards are the good interactions that we want to be seeing in those sorts of value generation trades. And you also see we are playing the triple Fallen in the Virtuous. I think that this is pretty much mandatory at this point. I mean, you've got the Decisive Battle of Gondola here, which is going to be serving multi-purposing tool sets for both of these. And you've got plenty of ways to go about generating advantage off of this. So one of these is going to be sending bits and pieces, which will then get you into the Fallen and Virtuous. So you're going to be controlling the game as it is. So if your opponent is going to try to set up and do something, they're probably not going to get the opportunity to do so, because your deck is just going to be establishing off of that. It's kind of a crazy thought, actually. Next up here, we have the cool tunes. And what's really cool about this is a regional first place list. We have now, and you guys were worried about this deck, you know, somehow somebody believes that this deck wasn't going to be an actual threat in Genesis format. No, what we've actually been dealing with here is actually this deck is just really, really good. First of all, you get to loop Ash Blossom because it is a tuna monster, so that actually kind of helps some of the stupid stuff. You get access to Delta and Gamma. First of all, if you have Delta and Gamma and you don't actually get to use them, you're like, oh man, they're in my hand, they're worthless. Synchro with them from the hand, because these cool tunes allow you to use a tuner in the hand to synchro with, and that's actually pretty freaking free value for this deck. Like, it actually is really stupid. And also notice, we are playing Pot of Extrav down here. The reason why you're playing Extrav is because you see this extra, and why you're playing all these 3-ofs. It's so you can actually draw extra value off of the Extrav. It's a pretty common practice at this point to kind of want to generate some free advantage off of things like that. And I think the deck does it pretty decently well, honestly. This deck is able to, honestly, just really, really, really mess with the equations in the meta. So we're actually looking kind of strong here with the meta. Also, we are side decking the playlist, which I think is fine. 99% of the time, I don't even see playlist even mentioned within main decks, period. So actually tossing us in the side deck. And of course, we can't forget about the actual problem card itself. Good old Naturia Rose Whip. Yes, Rose Whip being able to be one of those annoying little cards, and actually seeing this disappearing back into the background, I think is kind of refreshing, honestly. So not too bad. Next up here, we have some more Draco tail action for you. Now, what made this list even worth being mentioned is we're playing a Primite package in here. And I cannot tell you the last time that I saw anybody actually talking about wanting to play the Primite stuff, because your first initial thought is going to be, oh my god, this turns off all of my combo. No, it doesn't. The thing is, like, the way Draco Tail functions, I mean, you're just going to be setting up like an M board, but then, you know, you can actually call up the Dark Dragoon Maker here, because being able to bring out the Dark Magician gives you access to, well, I mean, dare I say, drill beam fodder. You can bounce the dark. In a very, very awkward twist of fate, you could make the Dragoon, make an Artholion, bounce the Dark Magician back to your hand to have the drill beam, you know, up and running. That's the thing, like, this deck doesn't have the ability to put the Dark Magician back on the field the same way that the Blue Eyes does, going into the opponent's turn to get more of that drill beam value. But, you know, this card does act as a gateway into the Dark Dragoon. It acts as a gateway to, you know, get drill beam value. And honestly, this is a 3, 4, 7... a 7-card dedicated package into the deck. So you're not even really hurting here if you were wanting to slot these different little techs into the deck, because honestly, your deck is consistent enough that you could play a package like this and not really be hurt with it. I guess that's kind of the cool takeaway when you're looking at Draco Tail as a whole, is this whole package is just so insanely good at generating advantage, and it's also a mini draw package to make sure your stuff can go. Also, yeah, we are side decking the Horn. Do I feel bad about not having the Horn on call? I mean, sometimes. It's one of those situations, it's like, yes, it is a very good card, but other times it can be very, very subpar for sure. Next up here, we have Branded. Now, Branded, and it's in a very weird place until we get Burst Protocol, because obviously once Burst Protocol comes down, I think that this deck is going to turn into a much larger problem and a much more consistent problem at that. Because the minute that the TCG put Branded Fusion to 2, we opened up a crazy can of worms of consistency that is going to be just enabling some little crazy things along the way. I'm not saying that this is bad. No. This is actually very consistent for the deck. But, you know, the OCG who's struggling on one Branded Fusion, you know, it'll be interesting to see if maybe the TCG can kind of re-push us back into the golden era of Branded. In terms of other cool things that this deck is doing, obviously, you're going with Triple Fallen and Virtuous. You have more than enough tools in the extra. I mean, they're playing 2 The Dragon that Devours the Dogma. That's already crazy to me that, you know, they found the slot to actually get this in, but also, you know, Rinbroom bringing back the Albaz to do the fusion with the opponent's field is usually pretty good. I think that's why we are facilitating the extra copy of the Dragon that Devours the Dogma, just in case, you know, you do revive the Fallen of Albaz, you do get to do the contact fusion with the opponent's field, and you basically do get to set up things. Also, let's not forget Mr. Alba Lenitus here being the absolute pinnacle and end for Dragon Ruler. Like, it actually feels pretty broken to actually see this card destroying people. Outside of that, I don't think that there is a lot else to talk about with this list. 50 cards, I think, is more than fine. You're not really going to be doing too crazy of things with it, but interesting list to say the least. Next up here, we have Sky Strikers. We're actually playing Cyanos. I do not like this card. I played it for a while. It felt good, but at certain points, it just feels very cloggy with the deck, and that kind of creates some consistency issues. You want this deck to be as liquid as you actually can to make sure that the deck can go, and, you know, having this card be a discard spell, it's not like we don't have plenty of cards to discard. Like, what in a scenario you open up like a Dead Droplet, for example, you know, you kind of got to make some of those concessions. It is cool, though, that it does bring out Rose from the deck. Also, this Duelist was so sick of their Lunalight matchup that they actually are main decking Hamp. That's crazy, but I get it, man. If you've got a fair amount of Lunalight players running around in your locals, this card is going to be a pretty important one to have to call up and break those Lunalight boards, because it gets very, very annoying very quickly dealing with that. So, what do you guys think about these interesting decks this week? There are a lot of very cool things that are kind of happening within the course of the meta. little diversities. Like, for example, the Primite package coming out of nowhere. I mean, who really expected that to happen? Not me, honestly. And I'm kind of excited to see, where the rest of this is going to go. So please, take a second, leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. You guys stay safe out there, right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.